All right, folks, welcome back to Stream Catchers. What's poppin', everyone? It's your wonderful hosts, AB, along with Jack. Jack, how you doing?
I'm feeling good, feeling great.
Woo!
How
Took
are
my
you?
line. I'm also feeling good, feeling great.
Good stuff,
Um,
man.
we're back talking about the penultimate episode of Marvel's What If.
Yeah,
This
that's
week
true.
was What If Ultron Won. I was not expecting this to be the next episode.
hmm
I know we had the tease at the end of what if Thor was an only child where Ultron pops in, so it logically makes sense that they would follow up with this. But we have seen Gamora Thanos since the
Yeah,
original trailer, and so it was like the conventional thinking is Gamora's next, and then they'll do the team up in the last episode. But so I guess she's just not going to get her own episode.
I don't know. Yeah. Do you think they're just not going to use all that Gamora stuff, or do you think it's going to be in the last episode, just not really the central idea of the episode?
I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's just going to
Okay.
be she'll just kind of pop up at some point. Maybe she is in the same universe as T'Challa Star Lord, and
hmm
they just kind of recruit her, and that's kind of where they go from there. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I was not expecting that, but I am glad with what we got. Let's do quick hits, and we'll go from there. How about that?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Sweet. Well, as you guys know, always we're assuming you've seen the episode. If you haven't, massive spoilers coming in. If you haven't checked it out, go watch it, come back, listen to us jabber about it. This week is What If Ultron Won? So in this scenario, Ultron successfully uploads himself into Vision's body, defeats the Avengers, eventually destroys all of life in the universe. Meanwhile, Hawkeye and Black Widow, who happened to be in a Quinjet when Ultron launched nukes across the planet, helping them survive, they search for a way to defeat him. They end up in Siberia at the old Hydra base that we saw in Cap Civil War. They find the last copy of Arnim Zola's consciousness, hoping that they can upload it into Ultron to wipe him out. While that's going on, Ultron finally finds the Watcher, where we see in action for the first time. And they begin a quick fight. The Watcher has to escape into another universe, while Ultron begins hopping the multiverse, hoping to destroy all of life everywhere. The show ends with the Watcher meeting up with a surviving Strange Supreme, urging the Watcher to break his oath and team up to stop Ultron. So,
hmm
what did you think of the episode, Jack?
Man, it was so good. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. A lot of action. I don't have many notes. um, but yeah, like I was enthralled. What about you? What do you think?
I loved it, man. I know. I feel like I've been saying this every week since probably the zombie episode, but I would say this is my favorite so far,
hmm
especially because we know that this isn't done. They're going to continue this with our season finale, and it.
hmm
Another thing it does is, when we start watching these episodes early on in the season, you're kind of like, okay, these are individual episodes. They're fun. It's cool. What if scenarios, but it may never end up leading to anything. And so the fact that it all actually is going to culminate into what I'm going to assume will be an awesome final battle
Yeah.
is really is exciting. It makes me love the show even more. I'm really looking forward to next week. And this episode is great. I mean, there was so much to like about it. Like you said, a lot of action, and I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah. What's good about the beginning episodes is that you know kind of like the day before what it's going to be about, so it gives you just a little bit of time to speculate, and then you dive in, you get the episode, you consume it. It's either good, great, not so good, whatever. But then it's over. And with
Yep.
now towards the end of the scene, we've got some episodes with cliffhangers, a little more world building within the what if
Yeah. Verse.
timelines. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that has made me excited in a similar way that all of the other shows that we've covered have made me excited with cliffhangers and a continuous story and stuff like that. So I'm really glad that we're here, and I did not expect it out of What If initially.
Same. I mean, you'll remember I didn't think we should have even reviewed it. I thought this was going to be like what Star Wars Visions is, just a bunch of
Mhm.
shorts. Might be cool to check out if you have an awkward amount of time to kill, but nothing
Yeah.
that's really going to build anywhere. And I don't know if anything in this is going to translate up into the live action part of the MCU, but the fact that this actually meant something and went somewhere, never doubt Marvel. Just never doubt them.
Yeah,
Ever.
exactly.
I should have. We learned that lesson in 2014 with Guardians. We learned it in 2015 with Ant-Man. We learned it with Infinity War and Endgame, and Shang-Chi was great, and I'm sure Eternals is going to be awesome. So I will never, ever in my life doubt anything that Marvel does ever again until they prove me wrong.
Yeah. Unending trust in Marvel is the way to go.
If only we could get there with DC, but all right.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's a whole different podcast. Let's talk about Ultron.
Yeah, let's.
Focal point of the episode, right? I feel like this Ultron sort of redeems the Ultron from the movie Age of Ultron. A lot of people didn't like that movie, and they didn't like Ultron himself.
Yeah, Age of Ultron is strangely campy. It's not, looking back on it, it's definitely my least favorite Avengers movie. It's probably in the lower like third of the movies for me if I had to rank them. But every time I watch it, I remember something that I forgot about and liked about it. It is a good movie. It's just overshadowed by so many different MCU movies.
Yeah.
And this episode of What If made me think the MCU could have done Ultron better. I think they could have if they had him foreshadowed a little bit in phase 2. It feels like even in phase 2 they were still building up for Infinity War in a way, and Ultron didn't get his time to shine, and then as soon as Ultron came to be, he was defeated, and that was it.
Yeah. I remember that being a lot of people's gripes with that movie and Ultron himself. I mean, if you remember the trailer, it was so like ominous and like, man,
sure.
they had that No Strings song in the back. It seemed like it was going to be this wild thing, and like you said, a bit campier. I will never say there's no such thing as a bad Marvel movie. It's just like you said, not as good as the other ones, and it has the unfortunate placement of Hi Scout. It has the unfortunate placement of being after the first Avengers movie and before Infinity War and Endgame, and so all three of those are all so good that they just overshadow this one. It had to sort of be a transitional movie, so I think that's why that movie wasn't very good. But here, when they finally do Ultron in a way that is a bit more true to the comics, where he's a real threat, like he's one of their biggest villains. And to see how powerful he gets, obviously he has the help of the Infinity Stones and all that. But just to see what he's able to do, it definitely, I think, redeems that character. And maybe there's a situation down the road in a live action movie or something where they can do a different universe and do Ultron there or something. Probably
that'd be cool. Or he's Ultron is basically just a program, so something that's backed up that we don't know about, like Zola. He keeps making new appearances because they can write him in very easily. I feel like they could do that with Ultron.
Sure.
I feel like they probably wouldn't, just because I don't know, the Age of Ultron, just even the title alone sounds so finite. Like and see, and that was another thing I was going to say is Age of Ultron seems like he's going to defeat the world and the Avengers will have to avenge it and save the day and everything. And it sort of plays out that way. But I mean, ultimately the drama from Age of Ultron was Sokovia and the Sokovia Accord. So it did lead to bigger things. It's just not in the way that it could have with Ultron being such a badass villain.
Sure. Yeah. I agree. Ultron was super awesome in this. I think there's even that scene that I have a little bit of a gripe with, where Thanos comes in with the gauntlet and Ultron just one shot slices him in half, kills him. Because he has the Vision's body and the Mind Stone. That's how he beats him. It's like, why could they not have done that in Infinity War? It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah. So it's got to be a saving time issue, right? I mean, well, the episode is pretty short too. I don't know if I'd have to look at the episode lengths, but I feel like this one was the shortest one.
I'd probably move the quickest, but I'm pretty sure it was around the 33-minute mark, same as the other
Yeah.
episodes.
Okay. It just, yeah, it seemed like they could have had more dialogue between Ultron and Thanos, and maybe a small fight before he gave up the stones. But maybe they just did it for effect to show how crazy badass the fully realized Ultron is.
See, my gripe's not with this episode. My gripe's with Infinity War.
Because Vision had the stone, he had like seemingly all of the power that Ultron did physically. So why couldn't he have done it?
Why? Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, Infinity War played out how it had to set up Endgame. It's just one of those little weird gripes. I feel like they could have done something else here to kill Thanos, but I mean, yeah, it was for sure a time-saving thing. They didn't need to spend too much time on that fight. It was just about how does he get the stones? Oh, here's conveniently the gauntlet. Sweet, and we move on.
He delivers them all.
Yeah. So Ultron was the major focus of this episode, but we also have a lot of Hawkeye and Black Widow here. Funny how they are the surviving Avengers.
Well, it was kind of cool. It made it feel. It made for a really good post-apocalyptic vibe, right? Because they are non-superpowered people in this world that's been taken over. You know, it gave me, a little Terminator vibes.
Yeah, no, I don't have a gripe with it at all. I like the fact that it was just them. Of course, like Hawkeye has this prosthetic arm now, which I get how he could have lost the arm, and that's all well and good. How does he get the mechanical arm? Like, there's no one alive, and as far as we know, he and Natasha don't know how to make.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually hadn't thought about that. I don't know. I don't know. I hadn't even asked that question to myself at all. Yeah, I have no idea. There's got to be more people out there, I guess, is the answer is they've got to have some sort of home base with a team that we just never saw in this episode.
Yeah, sure. You never know. It's S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe there was, who knows? But
yeah. I imagine that there can't be all of, a nuclear war wouldn't have killed all of S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. would have had some sort of contingency, for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Although at this point in the timeline, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s gone, so. But they do still have the Hela hangar. I don't know. It's there's probably an explanation. It was just a weird thing that I noticed. It's like, well, that's cool, but how does he have? Like,
I don't think there's never no S.H.I.E.L.D., but yeah, definitely a vast majority of S.H.I.E.L.D., is gone.
Yeah. One of the things that I liked about the duo here, so as we know, Hawkeye sacrifices himself at the end and dies. And it definitely mirrors Endgame in that she falls off the cliff, sacrifices herself. They're even holding hands, and he kicks himself off. She does the same thing in Endgame. So it really does mirror Natasha's death in Endgame here, where what did I write down here? So Hawkeye, his thing was he's tired of fighting, which was Natasha's same thing in Endgame. She was just like over it by that point. So pretty cool that they did that and mirrored the death there.
Yeah, when Natasha had so much, so much leader energy in the Avengers post Infinity War. And it makes sense that she would have been tired, after all of that. And Hawkeye is that way in this episode.
For sure.
So, that was really cool, and it set up that really, really good shot of him diving down, shooting arrows that was a really cool shot, animated or not. I really enjoyed that. It was cool.
I agreed, and they've done so well at putting great shots in this show, which I think the cinematography in the live action shows and movies has always been so good. The fact that they were able to I mean, obviously it's animation, so it's a lot easier probably to do that here, but the fact that they made a point to include that, so there's really no drop off in quality, I think it's a really good touch.
Yeah, I agree.
So
That's a good way to
yeah,
put it. Yeah, because they don't have to do that in an animated show. They that kind
right.
of attention to detail, and like even with the increasingly more vivid shots of the Watcher, like watching from the skies, that kind of stuff has been, they've only drawn it, like we have only drawn attention to it as the audience. They've never addressed it. They're just, this is, yeah, it's
It's
super
just a
cool.
progressive thing, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Let's talk about the Watcher, or
Yeah. Okay.
Uatu, as he is named.
Uatu, did they name him in this episode?
I keep seeing it in like all of these recaps and summaries, so I don't remember hearing it mentioned, but that is his name. For
Okay.
maybe it got mentioned earlier on in the show. I don't know, but
Okay. Yeah.
um,
I can't remember when they did that, but yeah. So we got a little bit more I guess character development. I don't know. He's more included, because he has
yeah,
lines. He interacts with like, other characters and stuff like that. And that was, and the characters that he interacts with. Oh man,
we're gonna
how
get there.
exciting!
We're gonna get
I
there
know.
for sure. Yeah, I really like seeing him in action. I thought that the fight was really cool. It looked like he actually could stand up to Ultron. Of course, he's got all the stones, so how much can you really stand up to somebody with that much
Yeah.
power? But he definitely looks like he can hold his own. And I'm also wondering if maybe, we've speculated on what this show means for the greater picture of the MCU and the live action stuff. And I feel like, if anything, this show was to set up him transitioning to the live action.
Hmm.
I could see Captain Carter popping up at some point. I could even see Strange Supreme. That would make sense. But maybe there were plans for T'Challa Star Lord at some point. Obviously, we can't have that now. But
Hmm.
it just seems unlikely that any, if at all, of this stuff pops up on the MC in the live action stuff. But I could see the Watcher popping up.
Yeah. Well, they had that one scene in, was it Infinity War, with the brief Watcher scene with no, it wasn't Infinity War. Um, Maybe it was a Guardians movie where where I thought it was Rocket and Thor, so maybe it was Infinity War, hopping from point to point in the universe. They're kind of going through those like those
Jump
wormholes
holes,
or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, and
Jump
there's
points.
the Stanley cameo where he's talking to like multiple Watchers or whatever.
Oh, that's in Guardians 2.
Okay, so it wouldn't have been Thor then. It would have been
It
Rocket
was
and
Rocket and Yondu.
Yandu. Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I hadn't
was
even
the
thought of
Watcher
that.
was the Watcher from What If? Was he one of those Watchers? I like it. I guess it'd probably be impossible to know because this one's animated.
Impromptu Google search real quick.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That, or was it like the post credit scene? No, I think it was definitely the jump. I
No,
remember
it was
that.
like right in the middle. It was right in the middle of the movie. The line that Stan Lee says, I can't remember, but he's talking about his other cameos, and the speculation was that Stan Lee was a Watcher and that he was like silently observing all these points in the MCU from different, passersby, like a FedEx driver or a bus driver, all this. And I'm
These
wondering if,
definitely look like Watchers. Okay, so
yeah,
that's wow. And that's something that I wouldn't have caught until I watched Guardians 2 again, because like
uh-huh,
that's such a arbitrary scene, right? Like,
uh-huh.
wow, okay. That's wild. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah,
folks
at
for
the time
listening,
it seemed so
random.
cameo-y, and it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
for like some diehard fans, like, oh, Watchers is so cool. It's like now it's here. We've got the Watcher. Like, is
Okay.
that scene going to have some sort of importance moving forward?
That one specifically, maybe not, but that was probably the first Easter eggy moment of them saying, "Here's what these things are." And since this Watcher is voiced by Jeffrey Wright, a big name
Mm-hmm.
actor, very good actor, I could totally see him popping up at some point, especially now that we have a multiverse beginning to form, and Loki has
Yeah,
happened, and we know Spider-Man's coming up in a few months, and Strange. Maybe he pops up in Multiverse of Madness.
that'd be cool.
And
That'd
this
be
was their
cool. I'm on
way of
board.
sort of character building him. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was really cool to see him and see him actually get into the action of things. And then of course he has to escape Ultron. He hops into another multiverse, and who is there but Strange Supreme. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, in his prison.
Oh man, yeah. It's funny because at the beginning of the show when they're doing the intro and they've got the credits and you see Jeremy Renner and all these people, and they don't show Benedict Cumberbatch, so you don't really expect him to pop up. And then
which thank God, that would have been such a spoiler if you'd seen his name.
Like, wait, where's where's he coming from, right? Yeah. So
and then I want to say he was like the first credit in the post credits.
It was it says episode, also starring Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah. So
or post episode credits. Yeah, it was super cool.
A strange Supreme that has seen the error of his ways and wants to maybe correct his wrongs. And
he seemed more level-headed, and he wasn't angry with the Watcher for leaving him to his prison. So
no, wants to help. And I think we can only imagine that they're going to both sort of transverse this multiverse, build up this team that we know of Captain Carter and Star-Lord, and I'm sure Killmonger's Black Panther and Thor, all these. Yeah, we're going to get quite a fun team up here.
Yeah, I hope so. This is a exciting week of speculation ahead of us.
Yeah, I think that I love that they're doing this like now after they've had all of the MCU to build up all these characters, and you can sort of seamlessly bring in a Captain Marvel, and it's an immediate impact. We know who she is. We know what she can do. When she pops up on him, on Ultron, and I think it was Xandar, it's like, snap, it's about to go down. And of course she ends up falling to him. But the fact that they can just kind of weave these characters in and out, this universe could have gone so wrong if they had just fumbled the ball with Iron Man. And it's remarkable how consistent they have been.
And there's so many times that Marvel could have misstepped for this to not have been the awesome universe that we've got. I mean, they could have, Avengers could have failed. I think Infinity War was a huge risk because it was such a culmination, an end point, and it was a huge success, the hugest success. So,
if it would have been like Justice League, look at what Justice League did to DC, how they had to sort of refigure how to do everything moving forward, and now everything's sort of in limbo. Whereas Infinity War came out really like within 6 months of Justice League and was such a hit, and because it was so successful, Endgame was so successful, and that's.
The thing with those DC movies is that they're still huge money makers. It's just that the reviews come out and they're so mixed. That with Marvel, it's almost overwhelmingly positive every time. And they make their money. So it's got to hit different for the people that work on those movies.
I agree, and I definitely have had my gripes with them recently, as far as just like there's a formula.
I'm sorry, Scout.
Scout is on one today. Sorry, folks.
I think that there are garage sales going on, so there's just a bunch of people walking around outside, and he's losing his mind.
Sorry, everyone. I forgot what I was saying. Damn it.
Well, we were talking about the Watcher, and then we talked about Strange Supreme. Are there any other subjects you want to cover?
Well, I have some inconsistencies I wanted to point out. I don't really know if there's anything there to talk, but so in the very beginning when they're doing the recap of what actually happens in Age of Ultron, they show Black Widow in that regeneration cradle when they actually wake up Vision. But at that point, she was captured by Ultron. So misstep there.
Good call. I did not notice that at all.
Ego, when Ultron's going around wiping out all these planets, they show him.
That should have already happened, right?
Should have already happened, yeah, because that happens in Guardians 2, and Guardians 2 happens before Age of Ultron. So that should have happened. Thanos having the gauntlet so early. Yeah. Because they don't specify that there was a 3-year gap. It seemed like that was right away. And so it's like, he's not supposed to have that for another 3 years. Not only that, it's nearly completed. He's got the Soul Stone.
Right.
So that means he should have sacrificed Gamora, but we see her in that recap when the Guardians are fighting Ultron.
True.
And she dies, and he kills Gamora. So a
And
lot of
who else would there have been for Thanos to love?
you could argue Nebula. I could see it, but
I don't know.
But Gamora was the reason that he knew that the stone was on Vormir, right? Yeah. So he had to have her to get that. And if he had her, why would he not take her? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of inconsistencies. I thought not.
I didn't catch that one. Ego was the big glaring one that I noticed.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice those other two. Those other two. No, you're right.
Yeah. So not enough to say it was bad. It's just a weird. I don't know why they weren't more careful with that, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't have any more notes. Do you have any final thoughts on the episode? Any predictions?
I don't think so. I mean, my main takeaway from this episode is that we kind of missed out on an Ultron that could have spanned more movies, been more of a threat. It would have been really cool to have had Marvel shows, besides like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time for Ultron to affect in a big way. But seeing him on screen with What If has been extra sweet. I'm down.
Definitely redeems the character in the MCU. Maybe there's a Disney Plus series in there for him, a 6-episode arc or something like that down the road. Who knows? Yeah, definitely redeems the character. I'm really glad they were able to do that. I enjoyed this episode. I'm really looking forward to next week. I did not think I'd enjoy the show as much as I have. But that's egg on my face. I should have trusted Marvel. So lots to love here. But that's really all we have, folks. So until next time, as you know, you can always check out our links to our social accounts in the show notes below. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps us out. If you're on the YouTube, make sure to leave a comment. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if you have any predictions for next week. And then, of course, we'll be back to chop it up on episode 9.
Yeah. We'll catch you later.
See you, folks. Bye.